Hi, welcome back to my channel, and in this video this is the first part of my series, A Catholic Reads, and the book I've chosen is the Book of Mormon. For this one, I might do it in multiple parts. I haven't fully decided. But before I start, I'm going to start off by showing you some good versions of the Book of Mormon for people who've never read the Book of Mormon before and you want options for reading it. There are other versions out there besides these. There are some that are in modern English, which I may talk about in another video if I do end up making this 2 or 3 parts. But I'm going to start off with a replica of the original edition. This is a replica of the 1830 edition. I don't know if I've done a review of this one, but I probably should because I have read this one. And this is actually one of my favorite versions to use because it's laid out more like a novel. And I will be talking more about this one when we get into the main part of the video, because the first section I want to talk about reading is going to involve using this. So for the moment, I'm going to set that one aside. This is the 2013 Quad. This is the current edition that people in the LDS Church use. It also has the King James Bible, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. So this has all of the primary scriptures of the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And this one is published by the church because it says on this part of the spine, it says the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it lists all 4 scriptures right here. This is an imitation leather one, which when I bought this one, this was between $40 and $50 with shipping and handling. They do have a genuine leather edition, and I think they have 1 or 2 other editions too. They used to have these available in a variety of colors, but I think now they only have them available in black. I'll have to double check that. I know someone I can ask, or I can look it up on Deseret. I've ordered stuff from Deseret, even though I'm no longer a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Occasionally I will order stuff from Deseret if they have something that interests me as far as ideas for videos or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to set that one aside for now. I'm going to talk about this one last. Okay, the next one is more of a study edition. There are other study editions out that are laid out more like a study Bible, but this one in particular is called the Book of Mormon, a Reader's Edition. This has since been replaced with a newer edition that is published by Oxford University Press, but still done by the same editor, Grant Hardy, which I have over here on my shelves over here, which I do plan on doing a video on both editions, comparing them and showing you the differences between the two. The Book of Mormon text this one uses is the 1920 edition. This quad here, I think, yeah, this one uses the 2013 version of the Book of Mormon text, and the first one I showed was the 1830 edition. There are multiple editions of the Book of Mormon for people who don't know. Just like with the Bible, with the King James Bible, you have 1611, 1613, 1769, and the last major one was like 1900, 1901. So, but yeah, this one's a study edition one. It's got footnotes and articles in it, and it's meant to be used for taking more of an academic approach to reading the Book of Mormon. It helps you to follow things in a chronological order, even though things in the Book of Mormon, much like the Bible, aren't always in chronological order. And not only that, he also has notes that help you to know who's talking. So if you've never read the Book of Mormon before and you're worried that you might get a little confused or not understand what's happening, this is a good addition for helping you with that. Now, this last one is, to me, the most important one that I got. I think it was 1 or 2, I think it might have been last year. It was either last year or year before, but I'm pretty sure it was last year. This one is a journal edition. Nowadays, there are Bibles that are journal editions where they have a margin that's wide enough to put notes in here. Here, I'll show you. This is double column, but then there's an extra wide margin here for you to put notes. And the reason I feel this one is very important, especially for this video, and if I do more videos like this on the Book of Mormon, it gives me space to write notes in if I want to. I haven't written any notes in this yet, but later today I do plan on putting some notes in it. I left the sticker on the back. It's like kind of like on the back of like a novel, how they have a thing that tells you about the book. But this is a sticker. It's got the ISBN on it. I will do a review of this one soon, because what I do like about this one is the print is actually very readable. I do not know if they make a large print edition of this for people that might need a large print edition. I may want to get a large print edition. I want to see if I can find one where the text is single column and then you have the space for journaling. I will have to ask somebody who knows more about the different journal editions that are available. So I may have to call Deseret or talk to somebody I know that's still in the church. But anyway, let's get into the subject of today's video, which is me reading the Book of Mormon and giving you a Catholic, well, my Catholic perspective. I can't give you the Catholic Church's perspective, but I can give you my opinion as a Catholic of the Book of Mormon. So the two versions I'm going to use are the 1830 and the journal edition. I want to see what text the journal edition uses. It uses the 2013 text. So it's the same Book of Mormon text that is in here. So if you'd prefer a journal version, you got this, or if you'd prefer something like this. They also have Book of Mormons by itself in editions similar to this. Someday I'll do a video of all my different Book of Mormon editions, because I have a collection of them, much like I do with the Bible. Okay, anyway, the reason I'm choosing these two editions is this is how the Book of Mormon was, a facsimile of how it was originally published in 1830, with the original title page, and the chapter divisions are different. There are no verse numbers. So there are some things that are different, which is why I wanted to do reviews of the different editions of the Book of Mormon I have. You don't have to be Mormon to read the Book of Mormon, just like you don't have to be a Christian to read the Bible. And you don't have to read it as scripture if you're not a Mormon. You can read it as a part of American literary history, because this was, even though initially it wasn't super popular, it did have an impact on American history. So from that point of view, that would be a good reason to read it. Even though I'm no longer a Latter-day Saint, from time to time, there are stories in the Book of Mormon I do enjoy reading. There are some enjoyable stories in there. There are some good... What I like about the stories in the Book of Mormon, real quick, sorry I'm going a little off topic here, but it does involve reading the Book of Mormon, is that some of the stories do teach positive lessons of like right and wrong, or choosing between helping someone and not helping someone, and what the right thing might be to do. Those kinds of lessons are in the Book of Mormon. No, it's not, if you're not a Mormon, it's not something you can back up with archaeology or DNA or any of that. There have been no people that have been able to be genetically shown to match up with the people depicted in the Book of Mormon. As far as archaeology has yet to find one scrap of evidence that can directly tie to the Book of Mormon. Not one single place with a place name like from in the Book of Mormon has actually been found. The only interesting thing archaeologically that does have something in common with the Book of Mormon but does not tie to the Book of Mormon is in the 1950s and 60s, some manuscripts were found with a male name of Alma, because all previous evidence was that it was a feminine name, or a word just that meant like virgin or woman of marriageable age. But some documents from the time of the Dead Sea Scrolls have been found, like land deeds that mention men with the name Alma. So I think that's just something interesting. It's something that both Mormons and non-Mormons can agree on. And I'm just so used to saying Mormon, but I should really say LDS, or Latter-day Saint. This does not have a publisher listed here. And I don't know if in 1830 they did or not. But let's start with this Book of Mormon, and then we'll get into the journal edition. This video may be a bit longer than what I've been putting out lately. Let's see who published this. Herald House Publishing. So this was published by the Community of Christ, formerly known as the RLDS. And it's been so long, forgive me, RDLS, or Community of Christ people that might be watching this. I don't remember what the R stands for. I think it was reorganized, but I could be wrong. Anyway, there is a copyright page here. Since I'm too far away and I don't know how well the lighting is to where if I zoomed in it would be visible. So when I do the review video, I'll make sure you can see this better. There's a little thing on the copyright, well, there's a paragraph on the copyright page. I'm not going to read it. But on the copyright page, at the bottom of that paragraph, I'll get to the title page in a minute if I haven't passed it. Hold on, did I pass it? Oh, I did pass it. I'll go back to the title page in a minute. But anyway, in the last sentence of the paragraph, this is like a introduction or something that Joseph Smith himself wrote, where he signs it, Joseph Smith Jr., author and proprietor. And then there's a thing about being conformed to the copyright laws of the time. This facsimile was originally published in 1973. This edition is printed in the United States of America, and it was a 5th printing from 2022. Now let's go back to the title page, which is what I really wanted to talk about. It's got the usual stuff that you would see on the title page for the Book of Mormon. I'm not going to read it because I don't know if well, this is the 1830 edition. There is a wording difference, so I think this title page is in the public domain, so I could read it out loud, but perhaps in another video I might. But anyway, at the bottom of this title page, it also says, by Joseph Smith Jr., author and proprietor. Now, the church's explanation of why it says author and proprietor is, at the time, even if it was something that claimed to be by God, a human author or a human person had to claim authorship. Now, I don't know how true that is because the Holy Bible has never been published that way in its history. I don't remember ever reading about any King James editions where the publisher or anyone claimed authorship of the Bible in order to publish it. I'm talking about the Bible text. I'm not talking about a study Bible. I will read the title from the title page. The title from the title page in 1830 read, The Book of Mormon. And then the subtitle was an account written upon the hand of Mormon. Oh wait, I gotta start over. I think I read that wrong. The subtitle reads, an account written by the hand of Mormon upon plates taken from the plates of Nephi. I've always found the title page interesting because the way everything on it is worded, it makes it sound like you're reading a translation of an ancient text. To me, it's kind of like, sorry to bring up Star Wars. As a Star Wars fan, some people aren't very into it, especially with the controversies with Disney and stuff. But there's an opening crawl to Star Wars, and the very first words are, a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So that's kind of what this reminds me of. Or like in fairy tales Once Upon a Time. The current title page, which is why I have this here, reads, because this one has the subtitle of Another Testament of Jesus Christ, but the title page still is similarly worded, but the punctuation is different. The Book of Mormon, and then it doesn't have the next part as a subtitle. An account written by the hand of Mormon upon plates taken from the plates of Nephi. And at the very bottom, instead of saying author and proprietor, it says translated by Joseph Smith Jr. And this particular one I have here is a 5th printing, but it doesn't say what year in the front. It might say it in the back. Let's see what else is different here. I want to see something. Hold on, I want to double check something here. Okay, that is different. Okay. Okay, after the title page and the table of contents in the 2013 edition, there's an introduction. Whereas in 1830, there was a preface. And they're different. This one I will read the first sentence of. The Book of Mormon is a volume of Holy Scripture comparable to the Bible. It is a record of God's doings with ancient inhabitants of the Americas and contains the fullness of the everlasting gospel. Now, in 1830, you got a preface, and the preface starts, let me see if that same thing is there. Nope. That introduction that was in this one is not in 1830. Instead, you have the preface, which reads, I'll try and read the first sentence, but some of the sentences in this edition are really long run-on sentences. So I may find a spot where I can stop where it would make sense in modern English. Okay. To the reader, as many false reports have been circulated respecting the following work, and also many unlawful measures taken by evil designing persons to destroy me, and also the work, I would inform you that I translated by the gift and power of God and caused to be written 116 pages, which I took from the Book of Lehi, which was an account abridged from the plates of Lehi by the hand of Mormon, which said account some person or persons have stolen and kept from me. Notwithstanding my utmost exertions to recover it again, and being commanded of the Lord that I should not translate the same over again, for Satan had put it into their hearts to tempt the Lord their God by altering the words that they did read contrary, from which I translated and caused to be written. And if I should bring forth the same words again, or in other words, if I should translate the same over again, they would publish that which they had stolen, and Satan would stir up the hearts of this generation, that they might not receive this work. But behold, the Lord said unto me, I will not suffer that Satan shall accomplish this evil design in this thing. Therefore thou shalt translate from the plates of Nephi, until ye come to that which ye have translated, which ye have retained, and behold, shall publish it as the record of Nephi. And thus I confound those who have altered my words. That's the entire first sentence of that to the reader. So it's talking about, for those who've never read the Book of Mormon, one part of the Mormon history is that when Joseph Smith was translating this by revelation from God, he translated 116 pages, and his wife Emma, no, Emma wasn't his wife's name, Lucy. Was it Lucy? No. Shoot. I can't remember Joseph Smith's wife's name now. That's going to bother me. Anyway, Joseph Smith's wife and a guy named Martin Harris were the first two scribes to write down the first 116 pages of the first draft of the Book of Mormon, which he translated by revelatory aid from God. And Martin Harris kept begging Joseph Smith to take these pages to one of his relatives. And this story is talked about in that Book of Mormon Reader's Edition, by the way. And eventually Joseph Smith gave in to Martin Harris, pestering him about taking these pages to his relatives. And so then while he was with his relatives, somehow the 116 pages disappeared. I don't remember the details exactly or where I read about it. But these pages went missing. So then Martin Harris has to go back to Joseph Smith and say, hey, these 116 pages went missing. So then Joseph Smith ends up getting punished by God for this. And that's when that first sentence that I read from to the readers was revealed by God to Joseph Smith, according to Joseph Smith. And so then there was a period of Joseph Smith having to go through a process of repentance before God would permit him to begin translate again. So this leads up to the time of Oliver Cowdery becoming the next scribe. And then that's when work begins on translating from the plates of Nephi. For those who have never read the Book of Mormon, how the translation process worked, according to what we know from history, is that Joseph Smith took a hat. Do I have a hat nearby? Oh, I thought I had a hat nearby. Oh, yeah, I do. I'll be right back. I'll be off camera in a minute. This is not going to be the right kind of hat, but I'll be able to demonstrate. Anyway, he had a stone called a peep stone or a seer stone, which he originally used before when he was involved in some fraudulent stuff with money digging. So he would take this peep stone or seer stone and put it in a hat, like a derby style hat. And he'd put it in the hat, and then he would take his face and he'd put his face into the hat. Hopefully you can hear me. And he would be telling the scribe, whether it was his wife, Martin Harris, or the later scribes, what words and letters he was seeing inside his hat. So that's how the translation was done. It was basically done through revelation, even though the golden plates or brass plates, or wait, what all types of plates is it? No, hold on. Oh, it's in the newer edition. Yeah, in this edition, it lists the different types of plates more easily to find. Okay, the plates of Nephi were two kinds of plates, the smaller plates and the larger plates. Then there was the plates of Mormon, which consist of an abridgment by Mormon from the large plates of Nephi, the plates of Esther, and the plates of brass. So there were plates made of gold and plates made of brass. And on them were characters that were very similar in look to a form of Coptic called Demotic. And he called it Reformed Egyptian, but there actually is no language called Reformed Egyptian, in spite of the fact that the letters that he wrote out in examples of resemble Demotic. And so there would be these plates, and they'd be covered in, I don't remember what kind of fabric it was, but a fabric. But they weren't always in the room. Sometimes they were out in the woods. There are people people in the back of this that wrote down eyewitness accounts of people that supposedly had seen the covered plates in a room. Joseph Smith's wife at one point claimed she picked them up to dust under them, but if they were really made of the materials talked about and the thicknesses and everything described, there's no way she could have lifted that by herself. There's no way Joseph Smith at times could have been running through the woods with them. It would have weighed too much. But anyway, they had engraved letters on both sides, and that was the original text was these plates. But instead of translating the way we would translate people have translated books about history, which is you have a source text in front of you, say this was my source text, and it was a language other than English, and I knew that language, I would, have a grammar and a dictionary in that language handy to help me translate that, plus a grammar and dictionary for English, and use these tools and the original text, and then translate it to English. Well, with Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon, God revealed to him the letters that made up the words as well as the words themselves. And then he would tell those things to the scribe, who would then write them down and make a manuscript. And only 25% of that manuscript, about 25% of that manuscript, survives today. There's also a manuscript that was made from that manuscript called the printer's manuscript, which I think something like 90% of that survives. So there's enough of these two manuscripts for them to go back and prepare future editions of the Book of Mormon, as well as translations into other languages. So that's how the Book of Mormon was translated in short. There are videos on YouTube where people go into more details, but that's my short version that I can do off the top of my head. Other things in here that I want to talk about in this video, I'm going to just use this one now, because I wanted this for the title page and that to the readers. There are some really neat quotes in the Book of Mormon. Let me see if I can. So bear with me a minute. I gotta turn pages here. The second half of verse 20 of the first chapter of 1 Nephi is one of my favorite quotes from the Book of Mormon. There are some really good sayings in the Book of Mormon. No matter whether you're Mormon or not, this is a book that you can find some really positive quotes in. But behold, I, Nephi, will show unto you that the tender mercies of the Lord are over all those he hath chosen because of their faith, to make them mighty even unto the power of deliverance. That's one of my favorite quotes from the Book of Mormon. And it has similarities to ideas found in the Bible. This is not, to me, this is not, as a Catholic, this is not equal with the Bible. To me, this is, as a former member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as a Catholic, my point of view of this is Bible fan fiction, because we don't have solid evidence that there even were golden plates, or that he hadn't somehow, written the Book of Mormon, because you don't have to be well educated to write a story like this. Plus, he had scribes helping him, so he didn't have to worry about being able to spell the words necessarily. Also, it bears striking similarities to books that were available prior to him writing the Book of Mormon. There are similarities to other books. I can't say for sure that he actually borrowed from those books, but there are similarities. Like some of the people names and place names are similar to names found in some fiction books available in the early 1800s. Other issues with the Book of Mormon is we cannot find the land of the Book of Mormon. There is a description of it, but it doesn't match any known current geological or topological place in the Western Hemisphere. But there is a story that I think in the Book of Mormon that people overlook from 3rd Nephi. Is it 3rd Nephi? I'm going to have to double check if it's in 3rd Nephi or if it's in Alma. Let's see. 3rd Nephi. Give me a minute here. I want to double check because I want to make sure I say this correctly. But I think what I'm thinking of is in 3rd Nephi. I'm almost to where I need to be. By the way, there is a version of the Sermon on the Mount in the Book of Mormon, but it's called the Sermon at the Temple. Starting to think it's in the book after 3rd Nephi. Because there is a point after where there's a destruction in the land, and I'm thinking that story of the destruction of the land is a way of, you know, covering for the fact that no one's ever found the Book of Mormon land, is that it was destroyed in a catastrophic event similar to Sodom and Gomorrah. Here we go. It might be in 4th Nephi, which covers the time period from 35 AD to 321 AD. Let's see. Oh no, maybe not 4th Nephi. Okay. I know at some point there's a story of destruction of land. Because the story in the Book of Mormon, I think, ends around the year, according to the Book of Mormon, ends around the year 500. I can't find it right now. I don't want to spend all my time on this video trying to find that one thing. But anyway, there is a story in the Book of Mormon where at least a certain part of the land that the Book of Mormon takes place in gets destroyed, kind of like Sodom and Gomorrah did. So, the Book of Mormon story could explain, if it was a historical document, how come we haven't found it yet. But so far as archaeology goes, there is no archaeology to support this. There are no place names that have been found of places that really exist. That is yet to be found, if it ever is found. I don't know if it'll ever be found. If there were to be archaeology found, I think that would be interesting. But I'm not going to hold my breath on it. And I don't say that in any offense to people who are members of the church. It's just that no archaeology has been found, and this Smithsonian Institute and other places are not using the Book of Mormon to try and find Book of Mormon lands. They're just not interested in finding it, because so far there has been no historical evidence to lead them to do that. And that's not even how biblical archaeology is done with the Bible. They don't use the Bible to try and find Bible places. They'll find like inscriptions somewhere that tell them a certain places, a certain distance away, and then they might end up finding places, or they just are, doing surveys and stuff, and they find what looks like could be ancient ruins. It's not like they go seeking. Well, generally they don't go seeking biblical artifacts. Not only that, the last battle mentioned in here, the number of people killed and the types of armor and weapons they have, we have yet to find a battle site that dates to the first 5 centuries of the Common Era in North America that has armor like they describe, weapons like they describe. So the science is not there yet to back up the Book of Mormon. Now, the Book of Mormon is worth reading. It's got really good stories in it. But like I said, I view it as Bible fan fiction as far as the Book of Mormon goes. Now, the Doctrine and Covenants is more historical because it's about Joseph Smith and people he actually knew. And so there are places in there that actually do exist, and people can go visit those places. So as far as Mormon scripture that is historical, the Doctrine and Covenants is historical. Parts of Pro Great Price are historical. The Book of Abraham has been disproven because the texts that he claims to have translated from are just ordinary Egyptian funeral texts, but I'll get into that in a video on the Book of Abraham. I probably will do more videos on this because there are passages I do want to go more into detail on. But I wanted this video to focus on advice for getting into reading the Book of Mormon and the options that exist, and talking about the title page, and getting a little bit into talking about the fact that there is no historical evidence for the events of the Book of Mormon. It would be awesome if there were. Whether I were to ever become LDS ever again or not, whether I stay Catholic or whatever, it's a good book to read because it's got interesting stuff and it reads a lot like the Bible, and there are some Bible characters in it, like Jesus, Moses, the Virgin Mary, and stuff. And part of it does take place in Israel. So it's an interesting text. I enjoy reading stories from it. And this particular edition is going to be nice to use for reading stories out of this because I can put notes in the margin. I gotta later put down some notes for that title page. But it's interesting how you go from this version of it where it reads more like a novel. I don't know if, here, I'll try and bring it closer so you can see. It's laid out like you would see a novel. And the chapter divisions in this are different than in this. Because a later leader of the church changed the chapter divisions, and someone else came along and came up with verse numbers and did the verse numbering system similar to how it is in the Bible. So if you were to get like a devotional that's tied to the Book of Mormon, or a commentary on the Book of Mormon, and it says like 1 Nephi 1:13, you can easily find it because it's like the same system for looking up a verse that you use for the Bible. So for that, it's really good. Or like if you were to watch YouTube talks on the Book of Mormon, you can easily find what they're talking about because it's a similar system to the Bible. And it's got books within it like the Bible does that are named after various things, because you got the Book of Alma, you got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Nephi, you've got Mormon, and some other ones. Let's see. You got Jerome, Omni, Mosiah, Helaman, Ether, or Ether. And then there's a pronunciation guide. So it reads a lot like the Bible. It's King James style English, although they use some of the wrong pronouns in certain situations. Because if you know older English, you would know that they accidentally sometimes use the plural for a singular and sometimes end up using a singular for a plural. Because in older English, we had pronouns that were for referring to one person, and then we had pronouns that were referring to a group of people. Although now we just use the plural form, what was the plural form for both singular and plural. I hope everyone enjoys this video. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. I will see you in the next video. And I don't know what next week's Catholic Reads are going to be, because from now on the Saturday videos are going to be a Catholic Reads. It probably won't be a part 2 to this. I'll probably wait a while and figure out a list of passages I want to talk about. I don't know if there will be a 3rd video or not, but I do think I probably will do a 2nd video, as well as doing reviews of these various versions of the Book of Mormon, including the other ones I have on my shelves. So once again, I will go through what these versions are. 1830 edition, where it's laid out like a regular novel. You can get these. Multiple different publishers do produce these facsimile editions. You can also get Kindles of the 1830 edition for like 99 cents, or even some of them are free because it's in the public domain. We have the 2013 Quad, which has the Book of Mormon, the Holy Bible, well, I'll do it in order. Holy Bible, Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, Pro, great price. And then there's some other study aids in here as well. And then we have the 2013 text in a journal edition form. And then the Reader's Edition by Grant Hardy, published by Illinois University Press. So yeah, these were just 4 of many possible versions out there. Like I said, there are versions in modern English that are available. There are versions by other forms of Mormonism. There are over 200 forms of Mormonism. The Latter-day Saints and the Community of Christ are only 2 of over 200 forms of Mormonism. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so I hope everybody's having a wonderful week, and hopefully the weather is good where you are at, and I will see you in the next video.